Yo, what's going on, man? It is your boy, baby, JoeNoJoseph, and I'm back at it again with another one, all right? Hey, listen. You heard him, okay? Today we're checking out Dr. Death. Stop it. The biggest serial killer ever, all right? I cannot wait to get into this video, man. If you guys haven't already subscribed to the Fellows Mystery channel, you're really missing out, all right? What are you doing? We got big chippers, baby. Big Freezy, what are you doing, all right? Come on, we're about to solve this, okay? If anybody can do it, we can, baby. Come on, get it together. Let's go.
Yes, guys, before we get into today's case...
we got a sponsor?
I do my wonderful entrance.
We got a sponsor?
We are now on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and a bunch of others. You guys requested it, and it's finally here. Wow. We made it happen. Make sure you guys go ahead, type in the Fellas Mysteries into any of those places, and you hit the follow and subscribe button. Even if you're watching this on YouTube, we'd really appreciate your support.
It's actually kind of fire.
So if you guys can go over there, check out this episode over there, and just show us some love, because a lot of you guys did request this to be a podcast, and we made it happen. So, enjoy today's case.
Enjoy it.
Sorry I'm late there, Chippo, bro. Oh, mate. You know what? I like to do this detective stuff, but in my free time, I like to beat chess champions.
Wow.
I defeated London's chess champion, bro, in 5 moves.
Wow.
Bro, those karate lessons have been coming in clutch. Well,
you might be smart and the chess champion might be smarter, but nobody is smarter than Harold Frederick Shipman, a.k.a. Dr. Death, a.k.a. the Angel of Death, a.k.a. the Good Doctor.
But that last bit sounds like some cap, because let me tell you, this guy was not a good doctor by any means.
No, the Good Doctor.
Oh, so he was just killing it. Hold up.
No.
This is the moment the murderer
Wait, y'all got The Good Doctor on Netflix? That's crazy, bro. I think for us it's on like Amazon Prime or some cap like that. That's crazy.
Activities of Britain's biggest serial killer were unearthed.
In 2002, police discovered they had another serial killer on their hands. Once again, he belonged to the medical profession, and once again the victims were elderly patients.
It's a hard thing to go through, having a loved one dug up.
What?
For us to make accusations, assumptions, to have concerns about a doctor maybe murdering people because that's what it is.
That son of a gun killed my father on Christmas Eve.
Hey, yo. Hold up, bro. Why people always weird with old people?
Harold Shipman, born in 19...
You know, like, it's crazy, but back in the day, like, old people used to be, like, so much more respected. You know what I mean? Used to be held at such, like, a high regard. I guess, like, really only, like, old, like, rich people, but still, like, old people were still taken very well cared of. You know what I mean? Like, even, like, they're slow people. Like, it seems like now it's always, like, if somebody's a little weaker than, like, what the normal person they would consider, like, it's always, like, let's just kill him off. Let's get rid of him.
46, you know, so he's got some age on him.
All these serial killers, Chips, it all happened in this era. Why are we not hearing about these serial killers nowadays? Or do you reckon there's just less serial killers nowadays?
Oh, maybe the police just keep it quiet to
hush.
Not cause mass.
Yeah, that is weird.
Wow, that's a good point. Maybe in 2080 they'll be talking about the serial killers in 2021.
That's a good point.
Anyway, sorry, I got.
Are there still serial killers?
He was
like, is that a thing, Jet?
General practitioner.
I don't think that's a thing anymore.
And he's believed to be one of the most
I don't think people just out here
serial
killing
killers
niggas no more, for real.
in history.
Now, you guys are probably wondering,
you know what I'm saying?
What is a general practitioner? Now, that is just the long word for a GP. So, your local doctor in the UK, we get free healthcare.
Sorry, America.
For now. Essentially what happens is you visit a doctor, and that doctor is usually your GP. So everyone in the UK has their own GP.
Yeah. I can't believe we just had to explain what a GP is.
Well, there's a lot of foreign...
that is true.
A lot of people not from the UK that don't understand our healthcare system.
Yeah.
Are wonderful.
He was a doctor.
Now, Harold Shipman, he had 4 kids and a wife.
Yes, sir.
So...
Homie right here, don't he kind of look like Pie Face, huh? Low key.
He was
He got about. He liked making kids, but he liked killing more.
Wow. He also had a wife. Her name was Primrose Oxtoby.
Ooh.
Isn't that quite an unusual name?
Looks to be.
Anyways, they married in 1966, and you know, let's take a little look at Harold Shipman's childhood. Now, he passed something called the 11+ exam, and it's an exam that you take when you're younger, and it determines if you are smart enough to go to the smart schools.
Yeah.
Right. And now he passed it. He was intelligent. Not only that, but he was a good rugby player and a long-distance runner.
Oh, they should have known he was gonna be weird, bro. He was a rugby player.
A little fact.
They're a
that I
little
feel
fucked up in the
everyone
head
should know.
as is.
And not only that, but he was also vice captain of the athletics.
Well, it's probably why I didn't get caught for so long.
What? Because he was a long distance runner. Jesus. Not only that, but some claim that his mother was very domineering. So, you know, really pushed him to do well at school, and some would say maybe pushed a little too far. It was very hard on Harold Shipman to do well in school. Maybe she saw a lot of potential, but you do get that a lot with a lot of parents. I feel like, you know, in the movies, in the American movies, where the dad really wants the kid to be successful.
Wants him to, you know, go into that NBA first draft pick.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe we had a similar sort of thing here. And some people say that she actually installed something called a superiority mindset in him. So one where he thought he was
better than everything else. Okay, I was gonna say, what?
This may or may not be a bit of a reach.
He looks a little snobby though, you know what I mean?
Parents do just push their kids to do better in school. I don't think it's necessarily something abnormal, and certainly not something that should push your child to become one of the most prolific serial killers ever.
Yeah, he's just got a problem, I think.
Yeah. Harold Shipman was very close to his mum, though. And when Harry... Well, we call him Harry. We don't really know him like that. Maybe we should stick with Harold.
We don't know him like that.
When Harold was 17, his mother unfortunately passed away from lung cancer. Her condition got worse and worse, and as her condition got worse, she ended up being administered something called morphine, which is essentially just like a pain reliever, a really strong one at that.
They just gave it to her then?
That was actually witnessed by Harold himself, and then later became his MO. So by that, I mean that was his thing. And when we go into what he did to his many victims, it was all... You
could just go home with morphine?
Does it tie back into how his mother died?
Maybe.
Most likely.
Yeah, he was inspired. It's like when you play GTA.
Right, how does it...
My mum wouldn't let me play GTA as I was younger because she thought I would be inspired.
Right.
Well, I was firing rockets around on the street, but it wasn't... It's not
Are you doing that now?
You don't know that. 1970, okay?
Wait,
Harold
Chad, you could just take morphine home? That's a thing? I thought you had to get like a prescription, or like, I thought, not a prescription, but I thought that was like only used at a facility, like at a hospital. That's crazy. I didn't know you could just go home with morphine.
Graduated from Leeds University with a degree in medicine. Pretty smart, Donnie. That's quite a degree to get.
Yeah.
He then goes on to work in a general infirmary.
Right.
Okay. Then it brings me to 1974, 4 years later. Smooth sailing so far. He took his first position as a GP at a place called Abraham Ormerod Medical Center. Not sure.
Damn, this is all boarded up.
Okay.
We got some big words here. Whereabouts was it, Chip?
Anyway, it was in Todmorden in West Yorkshire.
West Yorkshire.
West Yorkshire.
Yorkshire.
Anyway, next year, he was
I thought it was
caught
Yorkshire.
forging prescriptions for his own use. It was for pethidine or pethidine.
Hey, I just love you. Thanks so much.
I'm with you on that one. Anyway, it was for his own use. He got a £600 fine, and he had to attend like a rehabilitation centre in York. And he got off with a warning letter. So
there was maybe some warning signs.
Yeah, that's 600 quid.
Yeah.
Could have gone on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, yeah, he gets caught. 1977, he becomes a GP at a place called Donnybrook Medical Centre, which is in Hyde, in Manchester. Fun fact.
Oh, it's called Hyde, though, dude.
They had this big swimming pool area with a water slide, and it also had like a lazy river.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Sounds like paradise.
No,
man.
it was, it was Dubai in Hyde.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
My biggest question to you, though, Chip, and I feel like you'd be best to answer this, is why are all these serial killers somehow tied to Manchester?
It's the surroundings, Something in the air. Plus, we got old-looking buildings. Every time I look
something in the air.
Do this.
What, you could kill people? So you think you could become a serial killer in Manchester because the buildings look old?
Listen, you don't know until you've been there.
You really got to go there to
You really got to feel the vibe, feel the aura.
Once he became a GP at Donnybrook. Am I pronouncing that right?
I think it's Donnybrook. I think it's Donnybrook.
You're asking the wrong
Hey, you're the geezer that used to go swimming around these sides.
Yeah, but I don't know Donnybrook.
All right, okay. Well, look, Donnybrook. That's what we're calling
Donnybrook.
it. It's definitely Donnybrook.
No, it's Donnybrook. It's Donnybrook.
Is actually?
No.
No. Okay. Anyways, once he became a GP there, that's when everything
It's just not shit.
started to get a little bit crazy, and that's where all of these killings started to happen. Now, his sort of MO, as we spoke about earlier, was morphine, and what he would do is a lot of elderly women tended to be his sort of target.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's reports of it being, as young as people as 40, in their 40s.
Yeah.
There is actually one report that came out a lot later that reckoned that his youngest victim could have been just 4 years old, a 4-year-old girl. Now, whether that part's true, I'm not sure, but at least mid-40s was young. But yeah, he definitely targeted older women, vulnerable older women, but not necessarily women of bad health. They would just go in, whether it be a checkup, things like that. When you're 80s, it's a pretty normal thing to do. And what he would do is he would go in there and prescribe diamorphine and essentially overdose them on that.
So once he's caused
Oh!
patients have died, he would actually then go ahead and change or falsify.
Wait, so were they taking it home?
I believe they don't need to do an autopsy.
They don't.
Wait. So were they taking it home? So you can get prescribed it. He wasn't killing them there, like overdosing them at the clinic. He was prescribing them an abnormal amount for them to go home and self-dose. That's kind of crazy, bro. So literally he was like making them kill themselves. That's kind of crazy when you think about it. God, that would suck. Imagine like you just don't even know, you just die. I feel like that's probably worse than being sniped. Like I've always told people that being sniped is like probably if I had to go, that would, or if like for some reason like I just went randomly, I feel like that would be the worst way to go. Like imagine just being sniped one day. Like I feel like that would literally be horrible, bro. Horrible. You just be in heaven mad at the world. Like why? Where was he even at? I didn't even see the glint, dog. No glint.
Need to look
Maybe
into
they've
it.
died from a natural cause. Everything makes sense because he's made it look like it makes sense.
Right.
The bodies would usually be cremated, pretty much no evidence left, and he's gotten away with it. It's good to go.
Yeah, I mean, as a
Quite
doctor,
smart.
you hold a lot of power. One, you know exactly how much it's going to take to sort of overdose someone.
You just be
but then
killing everybody.
You have the ability to, like I said, go and change the death certificate.
Yeah, well, people trust you. The families trust you.
Of course,
You're a certified
you would never look
doctor.
at a doctor and be like, oh, well, the doctor's going to be the killer.
Yeah.
The doctor's supposed to be the one that you trust the most and the one that's going to give you the most reliable information. So he was in such a great position of power over these families. And ultimately, the reason why it managed to go on for so long.
Dodgy doctor. That's what they should have called him.
Come on.
Right, cheers for that. March 1998, Linda Reynolds. She was from a nearby medical practice.
I wonder how long they're going to be
She
able to make these jokes.
was very suspicious. She reported it to the South Manchester district that she was very suspicious of the high death rate associated with
So
Harold
like
himself.
because all of his patients, more of his patients were dying compared to Dr. Jeffrey from around the corner.
Yeah.
Things were starting to look
Well,
dodgy.
she was very suspect of the whole thing.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the police were unable to find anything because, again, remember, he's changing these death certificates, so he has all that power there. The police are looking into it, and they're just going, I guess he's just an unlucky doctor, really. Like, he's just had a lot more people die. Now, the police didn't look into his background history or his criminal record because if you remember what we spoke about before, he'd actually had a previous history of forging prescriptions and things like that.
Why
So
would he not?
maybe
Why would
had
they not
known
look
that,
at his
they might have looked into
prescriptions?
Maybe the death certificates and see if those are forged, things like that. But alas, they didn't.
Would it not be on his criminal record? Or they just not bother to look?
Well, that's what they said. They said the police didn't even look at that stuff. So, I mean, some investigation
Classic.
that was. Yeah, exactly.
So they
Now,
just- they
on
didn't do
April
anything.
17th, when they closed the investigation, Harold then went on to kill 3 more people.
Now, the next person who actually became suspicious of Harold, and you're not going to expect this, but it was a taxi driver. John Shaw, and no, it's not Luke Shaw's dad. He suspected him because he would drive all these elderly patients to the hospital, and I think it was 21 patients actually. And he would drive these elderly patients to the hospital. They'd be great condition, great nick, fantastic.
80-year-old, top Nick, elderly
It's like
person.
you're selling something on eBay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they were fine, obviously he would talk to them and he
Hiya!
get the the impression they were fine. But when they came into Harold's care, they would all die. And I mean, he's probably made friends with a couple of them.
Yeah, and at that point, his suspicions are raised. Now, what I'm about to say is a little throwback. So any of the fellas at Mysteries, the true fans from the beginning will actually remember that in the Tan family case, it was also a taxi driver.
Taxi drivers, they got good nose, good eyes.
I mean,
what?
Certainly good eyes for the
Why? The what?
Again, it was a taxi driver that picked up on these things and started clocking it.
Yeah.
So
bit of love for the taxi drivers. They've seen some shit.
They have
seen
some shit.
Oh, people just be doing.
All this
I think
was with Kathleen.
I think it's weird. I think it's a lot weirder that people don't kill people on the road a lot more. Does anybody else think that's weird? I feel like it's weird that people like go to people's houses. Like I feel like killing people on the interstate or something. It's probably like, I feel like that's probably like the easiest way to get away with something. Because everybody would just be so shocked. Like, what were they going to say? Like, oh shit, like, I don't know. It was just a car. And then it was another, I have no idea. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Who was his last victim. Now, with this particular victim, the way they found out was...
You don't think about killing people sometimes? For real? I don't know. Just be happy to. You have the thoughts, you don't do it, but you have the thoughts.
In her will... She completely excluded all of her children, Kathleen Grundy's children, and guess what?
£386,000
was supposed to go to Harold Frederick Shipman. And obviously then, that has to raise some eyebrows. And of course, the daughter's fuming that she didn't get her slice of the pie, right? And what did she do? She was a lawyer. So she decided, right, I'm going to take this a step further. She went straight to the police and opened up another investigation on Harold Shipman.
What did he think was going to happen at this point? He's gone, right, I'll kill this woman, and then I'll forge the will, copy a signature, whatever, mess around with it.
And take the money.
It's going to look totally legit that she's cancelled the will to her children and give it all to me, the doctor that has let her die.
Did he get too greedy? Did he want to get caught?
Ego, baby, thinking he was thinking, I keep getting away with it, I'm the GOAT.
It had to be ego. The only reason why it had to be ego, or he was in a bind with something. Like maybe he was thinking like, why? Maybe what I think that happened. I think he finally told someone about it, and they were like, "You dummy! Why don't you just also add yourself into the will as well?" And then he tried it and messed up. I feel like that could have been something as well, for sure.
But you're not. Messi and Ronaldo's a GOAT. You are not.
Not only that, Chip, but he ended up leaving a fingerprint on the will.
Rocky era,
disaster, right?
And
he actually used his own typewriter that was used to write up wills. Unfortunately for Harold, though, he was using a typewriter that had a missing letter key. Seriously.
So it just made it so obvious and easy to trace back, right?
Exactly, and that's exactly what the police did.
This guy is not at the top of his game.
What? That's why I said something had to be going on. Something had to be going on, Chad. It doesn't even make sense.
Because of the investigation, on August 1st, 1998, they actually exhumed Kathleen Grundy's body for testing. Yeah. Now, once they go ahead checking everything out, they actually found traces of heroin in her body, which is actually used for pain control amongst cancer patients. Right. Obviously, they've taken this to Harold, and Harold says, and he shows his medical notes, that she was addicted.
So it was her. She was taking heroin.
Yeah, that's what he said. But anyway, it was actually found that those medical notes were wrote after she died. If I had a mic, I'd drop it.
Harold, you've had a rotter there.
Bro, they got him.
7th,
he was horrible with the paper trail.
Came the day where Harold Shipman was in fact arrested. When they arrested him, they found the typewriter that was used in the will with the missing letter key. Man.
Rookie era.
Exactly.
So he got the money and didn't just use the damn money to fix it? I'm so confused.
Account where he had administered lethal doses of diamorphine to so many people. This was literally just the tip of the iceberg, and it was about to get a lot worse. So they found, obviously, the death certificates that had all been sort of messed around with and changed, and falsifying all these victims' medical records. And one of the big sort of stats to do with this is that Harold Shipman's death rate was 10 times any other doctor, right? 10 times. So no wonder we had Linda raising a few eyebrows going, excuse me, mate, you've got 10 times the death rate of any other.
Like, you shouldn't even, after like someone dies from after you are like signing 3 or more death certificates, bro, I feel like they need to do a full-on investigation into everything you've ever done. Everything you've ever done. Like, there's no reason why there should be just OD people dying under you. Like, it doesn't even matter what kind of doctor you are. The whole reason you're there is to either stop it or slow it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just baffled. Completely baffled.
The doctor here. I'm sorry. If it's 2 or 3 times, I would be willing to say you are an unlucky doctor.
Shot time, chat.
10 times, something's going on here.
What if you're just super unlucky?
Could you imagine? No, imagine you're sitting in the waiting room. It's like, Dr. Harold Shipman is ready for you. No, fuck
Hell
that.
no, don't give me that, nigga.
I am not going to see.
I'm definitely not going to go see
Shipman.
Shipman.
Yeah. In the 2 months following that, though, they exhumed 11 more bodies, and of course, all 11 were shown to have been murdered. So at this point, we know
He's finished, man.
it is finished for Harold.
So there was some talk about how the first batch of police that were handling this case did a terrible job.
Pretty fair. I'm not gonna lie.
You know,
Pretty fair because, like
we always get onto the police.
we do like to get onto them.
I wouldn't say that was necessarily the case because back then, the computer data patterns weren't so easily found. You know.
Nowadays, everything's like automated, and computers will be able to look at a set of data and go, okay, there's something fishy here. Here are your patterns. But back then,
you needed the time, you needed the labor, the workforce, and you needed like a good eye like Linda to point out subtle trends that were happening.
Okay.
So these days, that kind of ignorance, it won't fly. It wouldn't happen.
It's time for trial.
Okay.
It's October 5th, 1999. Now, according to a lot of people in the court, they said that Harold Shipman still had that air of superiority about him. Do you remember that thing that we?
Don't tell me that he's about to get out of this. Ain't no fucking way. Ain't no fucking way, coach.
Feeling of superiority in him. Well,
it's always the taxi driver who sees everything. No cap.
For these murders of the patients. Now, he was actually charged with the murders of 15 women by lethal injections of
women.
And I'll be perfectly honest with you, with all 15, it's not looking great.
He's dusted now.
He is. Now, January 31st, 2000,
women?
After 6 days of deliberation, the jury found him guilty of 15 counts of murder and 1 count of forgery. So, I mean, that's pretty unanimous. I'm not going to lie. He didn't really get away with anything here. And 10 days after his conviction, he was then removed from the General Medical Council, a.k.a. he was no longer allowed to practice medicine. He was no longer a doctor.
Well, you'd hope so. I can't believe it even took 10 days.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, what did the 10 days take? Like,
what if you had a patient within the 10 days?
Well, I just don't... what were they waiting for? Just how about just one day? How about the next day? How about the moment it happens, someone just goes on the computer and just deletes his doctor account? Is that how it works?
I don't know.
Everyone got a doctor account?
Maybe it was one of those things where it's like we can't fire him yet, and he's 10 days notice.
I'm not too sure.
He killed over 15 people. We don't know. There could be way more.
With a lot more charges, and that's probably what you're thinking. Like there is a lot of stuff.
How is he not dead?
But the trial had so much publicity for it to be a fair trial, and they already had the 15 life sentences. There's no need, bro. Once you've been given 15 life sentences, you're finished.
Once you have gray hair,
to go and.
Once you, I feel like if it's at a certain point, bro, after a certain age, like they gotta the death penalty should just come back into play here. You know what I mean? That's how I'm feeling, bro. I really just don't understand how this stuff works.
Do all the other ones. Now, throughout this, both Harold Shipman and his wife continued and maintained innocence. They claimed, look, I'm innocent. I did not do this. What?
That's cap.
Right.
In July 2002,
That's cap.
Inquiry, a report, in fact, that did conclude that Harold Shipman, even though he got charged for 15 murders, he actually had killed 215 patients. 215. That is over 10 times the 15 that he got charged for.
Insane. Now, I understand why they wanted to just do the 15.
What?
If you just get the 15 life sentences, look, you're going away for a long
Yeah,
time anyway.
so they've
that's
got
fine.
him down. But that was between
bro,
years. Carry on.
215 at least.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not even gonna cap. This boy right here might be a G, dog. He might got the most bodies. Like, he might be the #1 gangster in the world. When you really think about it. Boy got 216 confirmed bodies? and ain't even have to put his hands on him? Hey, hold up. I don't know. We might have to respect him.
No, man, that's crazy. That is crazy. And that was all between the years of 1975 and 1998. Got them dates right.
Now, more people actually died under his care. An estimated 459 people died under his care, but they do believe that roughly 250 people were actually
215.
Well, 215, but they estimate that there could be more they just don't know about.
Oh, okay.
Right? So they say estimated around 250, 50, could have been killed by Harold Shipman.
Because some of them probably did actually. They were most of them elderly patients. They could have actually died from natural causes.
Yeah, exactly.
Really?
Anyway, though,
Bro, those I mean, that is
Crazy numbers.
insane numbers.
top of the leaderboard.
He managed to illegally obtain 24,000 milligrams
What?
of diamorphine, which is enough to kill 720 people. Now, we know that it wasn't 720 people, but that's how much this man had. And maybe that's how much he planned.
How do you even get that?
If he didn't get found, like, he was taking that into the
How do you even get that much?
We've got to discuss.
I don't understand.
But they were kind of unclear. A lot of people couldn't really figure it out. But, you know, some people thought that he committed the crimes to avenge, you know, the death of his mother. She died of lung cancer when he was only 17 years old.
Sure.
You know, other people thought he was practicing euthanasia.
Yeah, okay.
Where you know, the victims wanted to
Still
die.
not on board. I still don't think that would have been the motive, to be honest with you.
A lot of people didn't think it was financial gain, despite him doing a forgery with the
with the will.
Will.
Yeah, I think you would have seen it in a lot more cases.
He probably just needed that money to carry on getting that diamorphine.
Yeah, that's so true, actually.
Psychologists said that he may have wanted to act like God. So, you know, that feeling of power.
The superiority complex
that
we
which
spoke
we spoke about earlier could work.
Yeah.
You know, it was an opportunistic moment.
Yeah, okay.
You know, he felt like, this is perfect, I can do this. And finally, some say he even wanted to get caught, which is actually quite common within serial killers. The burden becomes too much for them to bear, and consciously or even subconsciously, they eventually want to get caught.
I don't think he wanted to get caught.
What
the
do you
reason,
think?
The
What's
reason
the
why
motive you're leaning towards?
I don't know about the moment. The reason why I feel like
he
I
did
can
200
eliminate that one out is because once you're at, let's say, 128 patient, what was he saying? 129 was just too much at that point?
Maybe he
I'm
still
so
wanted to carry on with
confused.
the killings, but he
Like,
just,
what?
'cause he was so.
What's up, Jess?
It was the thing, but at the same time, he knew, and he wanted to get caught. It could be one of those things. He can't stop himself, but he just wants it to stop.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Like,
so it's almost like like he wanted help.
Yeah.
I'm
it
calling
could be, but
cappuccino, lad.
If this guy was black, he would have got the electric chair, chat.
And if we lean into the theory, the money, the £386,000, he was actually going to use for more diamorphine.
I just think he just enjoyed it, the power.
Yeah,
that he held over his patients. Like,
I think it is
I have
more
your life
to do,
in my hands.
I think it's more to do with the superiority complex, the God complex. That's the motive I'm leaning towards. One thing that's pretty interesting is the fact that psychologists looked at him, and you would assume someone like this would be considered mentally ill, right? Mm-hmm. But they actually said he's got no mental illness.
Well, they could have
Harold Shipman has no mental illness.
What?
How?
Struggle to
How?
Maybe not.
That doesn't even make
believe
sense.
That, but that's insane.
It does sound strange.
That's insane. The fact that someone that can do this had no illness. That's scary.
He's getting a high out of, you know.
Bro, it's crazy. He's definitely got a mental illness.
Now, the GMC, the General Medical Council, they actually tried to charge 6 doctors for failing to notice the pattern between patients' deaths and Harold Shipman. But they were actually all found not guilty. I'm not going to lie, I think that's a bit harsh.
I feel like that's not their fault.
Yeah.
Not their issue.
Yeah, it's not part of their job, really, is it?
Yeah, they shouldn't be looking for mistakes that the doctors have made.
That should be someone else. That should be someone's job.
Yeah.
Is to make sure that everything, all numbers and everything are correct.
Maybe you can get fired for it, but you can't get charged for it.
Well, they tried to charge him, but look.
You should. I would say you should.
But one of the big things is that it forced the GMC, the General Medical Council, to actually change some of the structures and the way they did things. And it's called the Shipman effect. Ooh. Now, what they did was many doctors had to change the way that they dispense their medicine and things like that. So by requesting certain medicine, those practices had to be changed. And not only that, but death certification practices were also changed. Because obviously we remember he was changing those death certificates before. They've now added more regulation into that to
so
make sure
ain't
that
nobody
doesn't,
getting away with it now.
yeah, can't happen again.
13th of January 2004, the day before Harold Shipman turns 58, he committed suicide in his cell by hanging himself. Not ideal, and it wasn't ideal for the families, in fact, because they were actually really upset about this because, you know, he's committed suicide before he can explain himself, confess, explain everything that's happened. Some people are debating the motive for his suicide. One of the things that was put forward was he killed himself so that his wife would still get her pension, because if he lived past 60, she would not be entitled to the NHS pension.
Okay, so
she is now.
I'm trying to figure out what, like, did they find just a bunch of TVs and stuff like that at his house? Like, I'm confused at what was he spending all those people's money on? Like, he wasn't out here just dappered up when they arrested him. Obviously, he wasn't shaving or doing that, so I'm lost.
Financially secure, she's stable, he's protected her.
Oh, okay, so because he wasn't over the age of 60, she still got his NHS pension, essentially.
True love.
Now, another interesting fact as well with this is that the police actually recommended that he was cremated and not buried, because they reckon that if he was buried, his grave would have just been attacked. Like, relentlessly attacked. I mean,
but what were they gonna do? Mess around with his body? I don't understand. I'm confused.
250 people. Like, that's 250 people's families that have genuine hatred towards this man. Like, that grave was probably wouldn't have stood a chance, to be fair. And I think it's probably the correct decision, to be perfectly honest with you. We have some quotes from some popular news publications here that spoke on the whole thing, and especially once he had died. The first one is from the Home Secretary, David Blunkett.
Piss on his grave?
You wake up and you receive a call telling you...
What is that going to do?
And you think, is it too early to open a bottle? And then you discover that everybody's very upset that he's done it. So you can see this man was... the whole nation despised him. They're literally wanting to pop a bottle, knowing his death. But yeah, the Daily Mail, they went and said... they sort of just went at the prison service for allowing his suicide to happen. A lot of people wanted him just to rot in jail, and they feel as though a suicide was like an easy way out for him.
It's like an easy escape.
Yeah,
bro, rotting in jail is an easy escape.
UK prison welfare to be looked at.
He either needed to die or die. That was it.
And finally, The Guardian released an article on changing life sentences to indeterminate sentencing to give prisoners hope. Now, this last one's really interesting, and me and Chip actually wanted to speak about it, because essentially what an indeterminate sentence is people would say to him, Chip, you've killed 5 people. We're not going to tell you how long you're going to prison for, but you're going to prison.
Yep.
But the reason why they spoke about, do we do that? Instead of being like, you're going away for life, you've got no chance of getting out, you're done. The reason why they think that it should be done the other way, where you don't actually tell them how long they're going away for, is because it gives prisoners hope. Therefore,
but wouldn't you just find out?
Kill themselves and take an easy way out, if you will, and that way they can, they stay in.
I don't really know if that would work. I feel like they would just tell, like you would just ask the guards or something, and they would tell you.
Do you think there should be those sort of sentences? It does open up a lot of ways to sort of abuse that particular
that doesn't even sound like it would work.
Way of sentencing
oh no, I could be wild.
It's not a route we should go down, but I can understand why the families of the victims and things, would want something like that. You don't want a serial killer to get the easy route.
But at the same time, the easier option would just be to make sure they can't kill themselves in prison. By however they do that. They monitor certain cells more, whatever, cameras, anything, making sure they get rid of stuff that you can actually kill yourself with, like making sure you got no shoelaces and stuff, right?
Yeah. I agree with you. I don't think that they should have those indeterminate sentence, because it's too risky to open it up to be abused, and I get it. You don't want the prisoner you want the prisoner to have hope so they don't kill themselves, but it's not for me personally.
Now, to wrap this up, there is a memorial in Hyde Park. It is called the Garden of Tranquility. It is, of course, for Shipman's victims. The families were seeking compensation for their loss, and in fact, in 2009, his letters that were written in prison were sold at an auction, but it actually was cancelled due to complaints from the victims.
What were you getting money for? I'm so confused. Oh my God, bro. Oh my God. In all these cases, bro, in all the cases where like people's families get killed by police officers, or people's families, or people get raped or some shit, or like something happens, the fuck are you getting paid for, dog? Like, what does getting money have to do with like with the hurt? Like, how does that make sense, bro? Like, I just don't understand why. Like how does that help you grieve? Like, how, like, oh yeah, my son was raped and murdered in prison. Now I'm gonna sue the prison for money. For what? For what? I want them all dead, dog. They all gotta die, bro. Like, fuck it. That's where I'm at with it. I don't want no money for that, bro. I want his whole family. Everybody that ever loved him and taught him how to love. Anybody that ever knew him and didn't show him how to love. Anybody that ever didn't say hi to him. All them niggas gotta line up and they all gotta die, bro, because they failed that man. And because they failed that man, they failed me, and they allowed him to kill my family. So now his whole family gotta die, bro. It's y'all's fault just as much as it is his. That's how I feel, bro.
Obviously,
that's how I feel.
They want, I mean, they're profiting from
off of
I'll never get it.
Yeah, it would be cool to be able to see those letters or read them, but I think auctioning them off for money is probably not the best way. So you can understand the victims' families' issues and complaints.
Well, it was cancelled anyway, so they made the correct decision there.
Well, there we have it, guys. That is the story of one of the most notorious serial killers in the entire world, Harold Frederick Shipman. We'd love to get your thoughts on this particular case down below. And of course, guys, if you are watching this on YouTube, this is also on Spotify. Make sure you go ahead and check us out on Spotify. Guys, let's have a massive push over there. Go to the Fellas Mysteries, type that into Spotify and Apple Music, or Apple Podcasts, sorry. Type that in, hit the subscribe, the follow button, whatever it is, on whatever platform you want to use. I think we also have Amazon Podcast.
Is it Apple Podcast, not Apple Music Chat?
We're literally on as many as we could find for you guys. So maybe you're on your way into work and you don't fancy watching our ugly little mugs. Well, guess what? You can just listen to our horrible little ratty voices.
Yes.
Have a fantastic day. Me and Chip will see you guys next time. Laters.
Laters. That was fire. They always do their thing. Never expect anything, man. Always expect greatness from them, and they always deliver.